Are we good?
You are good.
Cool. So our group's doing the opposite of the Bristlecone Pine. It's another one of those unique features of Owens Valley. It's kind of one of those amazing trees. It's not unique to California, but their characteristics in White Mountain are unique. So next slide. Oh yeah, before I do that, I'm Joe, Melissa, Jenny, and then there's two others that couldn't be here. So the common name is the Great Basin Bristlecone Pine, or the Intermountain Bristlecone Pine. The scientific name is Pinus longeva. And
We tested on that.
Typically they're 40 to 60 feet tall, so not like a huge tree. And the ones in White Mountain are smaller where they're at. The size is, the trunk's 12 to 30 inches in diameter. Next slide. And then the morphology, so the morphology kind of varies depending on what elevation they're at. So in the higher elevations, the conditions are more harsh, so they kind of take on a more like twisted, just gnarly looking like morphology. Lower elevations, less harsh obviously, and a bit more like a tree. Like a lot of it. Next slide. So they're not here. I do life history. Right. I'm happy life history. So like I was saying, like they grow at different elevations. So their growth age varies by elevation. So at higher elevation, they actually grow slower but longer. And that kind of makes sense because the slower you grow, the more dense you are, the more resistant you are to like conditions. Oh yeah, I guess that's right there. Slow growth makes their wood dense, more resistant to insects, rot, and weather. Bristlecone pines achieve their age by cloning new bushes. So go back a slide real quick. So like this tree, most of this tree is dead, and it'll clone new bushes off from it, and that's how they kind of maintain their age. Go back. Yeah, like the exposed roots die, and so does the tree directly attached to that root portion. Yeah, the oldest living bristlecone pine is Methuselah, which is also in the White Mountains. If you actually just looked to the mountain range right behind the research station, they're over there. So that's pretty cool.
All right, so the bristlecone pine inhabits exposed ridges and rocky slopes with a pretty large elevation range from 6,500 to 11,000 feet. They're mainly found in California's Great Basin and montane forests of Nevada and Utah, where they have climates that are arid and cold in winter with hot and dry summers. The Great Basin bristlecone pine favors thin rocky substrates that are generally composed of dolomite or limestone and with a 50% rock content. The dolomite is alkaline, high in calcium and magnesium, and low in phosphorus, which makes it difficult for other plants to grow in it and reduces the competition for resources and space for the bristlecone pine.
So Jamie just talked about habitat, so you can kind of get an idea of where this is, its range. And obviously, its range isn't cut off so perfectly here, but this is the best data we can pull off the internet. But for the purposes of a range map, it's not really relevant because we're going to kind of go into our area that we explored this weekend. And so yeah, I just found the data. It was a simple kind of range raster map online, pulled it into ArcPro, and then published it as a web layer, a web map. So here is California, and here is the raster map visualized. So we can kind of get an idea of where these trees are. And work with me because it's kind of slow. A little slow. Okay, here we go. So I made some just like pre-existing bookmarks. So we can kind of go into Inyo County, which I delineated with this yellow outline. And so this blue mountain symbolizes where we stayed. So this is the White Mountains Richardson. And there's a little push-ups. So yeah, so here's like the range map. This is the current range map of Bristlecone Pines relative to where we were, showing the extent of where it goes into the Owens Valley. And with these, with this data, they can also make projections as far as where with current climate conditions, how they'll expand, stay the same, or contract. So, we, should I do this?
Wow.
It's large data. You gotta give it time to breathe.
But that cluster in the southwest showed up. Or was it just loading in from the original?
It's just,
Oh, okay. Never mind.
we could just move on. Okay.
That's the habitat range.
That's how
That's what
that was
It would have been a little fancier, but.
All right, you know what? Yeah.
Is it expected to increase or decrease the range? Is the range of the tree supposed to increase or decrease? Because you were trying to do it with
Yeah,
climate
it's
right,
not
models.
really increasing your deep sorry.
It's doing a little bit of both. So that map showed like different areas where it's contraction and expansion. So it's
Mhm.
really very all over.
Sorry.
Were there specific characteristics of that location, of the location where it's contracting versus where it's expanding?
I didn't look into that too much,
Okay.
but it was very varied. It was very like it didn't seem to have sort of a pattern somewhere. It was kind of all over the place. It's really, I wish we could see
Stats
it.
test.
Yeah.
So I chose to kind of look into the fire ecology of the Bristlecone Pine because here in California we're kind of like always on fire. And with these trees being so old, it would be really interesting to see what kind of adaptation strategies they have if they do encounter fire. Because if there is a great fire that they encounter, it would be nerve-wracking to see them all go. So there are some adaptations to fire, but basically where these are located, they're kind of in like mid-elevation areas where they don't necessarily encounter great like rounds of fire like we see down here in Southern California. So typically, and this is an image here of a fire-scarred tree. So their bark is really, really thin but very layered. So if they do see kind of smaller fires, they're going to survive through that. They grow at the higher altitudes where fire isn't as common like we talked about. And also with their widely spaced stands, the stand is just like a cluster of trees. So you'll see one cluster of trees, but then you'll see kind of a long distance before you see another stand of them. That gives us time to hopefully do some fire prevention methods in ancient Bristlecone forests so they don't all get taken out. The stand dynamics are influenced kind of like what Jamie talked about. It's really determined on the like the soil concentration. So phosphorus is a really big determinant for them. And then also the seed dispersal for these guys too is really important. So we want to look more into research based on the Clark's woodpecker. If these trees do get harmed by fire, are these seeds still going to be viable? What does the seed bank ecology look like for them? And also like what does the competition for other conifers that might grow with these look like in these drought tolerant areas? That's really going to help with the survival just in general, but also with respects to fire. And also the other thing I thought was really interesting is that with fire ecology, the bristlecones can be considered both a pioneer species, so they could be the ones that could kind of take over first in a fire event. That's largely based on what the Clark's woodpecker's seed dispersal looks like. But they might also be a climax species, so they might be the last one there. They might be the dominant species that you see, just based on, again, kind of that soil chemistry that's going on.
So the listing, the Bristlecone Pine is not like a rare species. You saw on the range map, IUCN red list, it's stable and of least concern. Federal and legal status, there's no like special thing about it. But the California Native Plant Society places Great Basin Bristlecone Pine on their watch list just because of its like limited distribution in California, not that it's like a unique species.
So obviously these trees face threats, especially with climate change. So infestation onto the tree, and then also fungus. So in this case, the white pine blister rust. So I'll just read a little note about that fungus. So given the unique ecological roles played by these species, tree mortality and reduced regeneration success caused by blister rust will affect biodiversity, watershed stability, forest recovery after fire, wildlife, and recreation. And here's what the list looks like.
So the ancient Bristlecone Pine Forest, we put this in the presentation because this is what you would have went to if you were in that area. I think it's awesome that California has the largest tree by volume, the tallest tree in the world, and also the oldest tree in the world. It's like a very cool thing to just check out, fairly locally to us. So if you stepped out of the research station, you turn around and looked at that mountain range, the ancient Bristlecone Pine Forest in that mountain range. Looking at the White Mountains, roughly an hour's drive east of Bishop. So if you just kept going, you ran into it. And it contains both the oldest Bristlecone Pine and the largest Bristlecone Pine. So Methuselah is the oldest, and it's in Shulman Grove. And they carbon dated it back to at least 4,769 years old. That's obviously, put in perspective, significantly older than us, or, I mean, not us, but the United States. It's pretty amazing. And then, the Shulman Grove contains that, and the Patriarch Grove actually contains the largest Bristlecone Pine, Patriarch tree. And, yeah, so what's interesting with Methuselah tree also is they don't disclose the location or show pictures of it because obviously some asshole would come and like, destroy it or cut it down.
Yeah, in the 1960s, a researcher came and cut down the one that was older than Methuselah
Yeah.
to try and like figure out
Just
the
about
climate
happenstance, yeah.
through
A
history. and-
researcher.
Yeah.
PhD.
I know.
Yeah.
It was
I
rough,
hope they didn't
but-
get that PhD.
Yeah. Same.
Alright, and then, at the end, I would definitely go check out the oldest tree, the largest tree, the tallest tree in California since you're here. It's awesome.
Because you have the tree that's very old and it's kept a secret, is there anyone that knows where it is?
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of people know where it's at. It's just not like the national parks don't even tell you where it's at. Any government agency doesn't tell you where it's at. I'm sure if you dig deep enough, you can find it.
I don't think it's a risk though.
I'm sure Reddit's got the
Pretty
answer.
secretive.
It's like archaeological science.
Right,
Yeah, exactly. I asked Colleen Doherty about some sites in Sycamore Canyon. She went down after the fire because they're along the edge of the stream. And she thought, I can't tell you. Colleen, I'm working up there. Tell me.
Yes, sir.
Maybe it's personal.
What's unique about California Street, the three things?
So you have the coastal redwood, which is the tallest tree in the world. You have the sequoia, which is the largest tree by volume. And then you have the Bristlecone Pine, which is the oldest species, oldest living in the world. The universe, as far as we know.
So here's the stress map. I'd be interested to know what kind of eliminates, constitutes no change stressed.
If you
That's that
overlay
same Yocha, it's just.
elevation on that, would there be any correlation, you think?
Yeah.
And
I would love to look at
direction?
that, but so I would need like a digital elevation model.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the same
I
thing.
can do that.
So slope elevation and prevailing wind direction?
Yeah.
Geez, zoom out just a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit.
just
Seeds
data
would get
sets.
dispersed, the seeds would get dispersed in a specific direction too,
Yeah.
which can help them grow. Yeah.
So is this what is this taking into factor? Is it's obviously temperature, precipitation,
I wish
fire
I
risk?
knew.
Elevation.
So yeah, but it's kind of like a commentary on just like data collection and metadata. So when I pulled this data off of the internet, I was looking for the metadata to kind of get an idea of what it's showing, what it takes into account,
Yeah.
and it's very, very poorly capitalized. So the best I got was like kind of like something like these labels. So no change, stress, and then expanded.
I think we need a data artist to
Yeah.
get rid of data.
Whoa. Yeah.
Do you guys, I'm sorry, do you guys have other questions? Because
Yes.
Yeah, one more comment. I think, I might be wrong, but I think Monrovia might have like the tallest, or not the tallest, like the biggest tree by area, is like wisteria, so.
Right, yeah, by area, but not by volume. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
a
So
single
it's also
stand.
like we have 4 big.
Oh, we do?
By area,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
volume, but it's height, crazy.
thank you.
Thanks for that fun fact, yeah.
Right. Did you guys, and I don't want to steal thunder from the other class in terms of question, but in terms of climate change, how they record climate change at all, how we see it in the tree? Is there-
Like the history of climate change
Yes.
is such an old tree.
Yes.
Yeah, we didn't really dive into them, it is like a history-telling tree, really.
Yeah, that's exactly what that one researcher was looking into.
That's what I
down that
said.
tree.
Yeah.
So I think there might be a little bit of like stigma against chopping down bristlecone pines now.
Don't core that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I wish we would have went into a little more of that. I didn't really think about that.
But that's okay.
But yeah, like any tree really, it's like a history.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's very cool.
Other questions? Thank you, guys.
Thank you.